To be honest, I wasn't really sure whether or not to cover this on the channel, but many of you did want to hear my thoughts about it, so I figured I would deliver. Please do keep in mind that before we do proceed, this does not guarantee that the final product will look anything like this. It only really serves as an idea of what we can expect, and even that may not be true. Additionally, I see many people calling this a leak. It's not a leak, it's official promotional material that just has some strings attached to it. We know it's real, however, what it looks like in the final product could be vastly different. We currently have two images, some have similarities between the two and some have differences, but the big thing between the two is that there's some placeholder descriptions in there with the same info, but we'll touch more on this later down the road. But please do proceed with caution, do not take this as any definitive news. So on an ASUS ROG ScreenPad Plus promo footage from June 2020, they were showcasing the power of their new technology of having two screens on a laptop. And one of the supported features is having games utilize that second screen as an additional menu. But one of those supported games here is Dying Light 2. And because of that, it shows us some very little new things that we haven't paid attention to before. This granted us two images to look at, so I'm going to go through and just talk about each one real quick. So let's start from the left to right and work our way through what everything has to say. On the left, first we have quests, activities, and facilities. Quests are pretty self-explanatory here. I think this will only really relate to story missions. Anything that affects the story drastically will all fall under here. For activities, this could be where side quests are, co-op activities. Those extra challenges from the original may fall under here. And lastly, for facilities, this is probably more so for outposts, safe houses, faction controlled areas, things that we haven't really heard much on, but that's just my personal guess. It seems a lot more organized this time around compared to the original. The original kind of just had this long list of a bunch of things that you could do, while with here it seems like they're really trying to break it up for us. But going back to what I said before, two versions of this image. They are slightly different from each other, but they do share similarities. Here they are side by side. When it comes to the quest, Getting Stronger reads, Aiden and Hunkin reached the bazaar. Unfortunately, the guard wouldn't let them in. Aiden didn't have a device called the biomarker. Luckily, Hunkin had a backup place. However, if we look at the other image, it has the same description, but for a different quest. What is more likely with this is that it was just a placeholder description for a quest, or the quest was renamed when they were sending out promotional material. Like I've said, it's hard to gauge the reliability of what the final product will look like when we have things like this in here. Remember, promotional material only really serves to give us an idea, and it might not even look like this. What is present in both, however, is the opportunity to see your rewards, and if you have the choice between rewards, it will give you that option. And this goes hand in hand with what they said back in E3. You can do certain quests and obtain certain rewards. Not doing certain quests will lock you out on certain rewards, and that is properly reflected in the screenshot that we do see. What's interesting is that both screenshots really prioritize being a certain level in order to do a mission, which like I said is a drastic change from the original. And this really does raise even more questions than I had before. The most that the original did have was tell you whether or not the mission was going to be easy, normal, or very hard. How will this new system work? How can underlevel people complete this mission? If I'm playing co-op and I'm level 3, my friend's level 5, and the mission is level 6, are we going to have a difficult time participating? It really does offer us a lot more questions that I would like to discuss further. What someone in my Discord did say was, I hope it means that they'll have an easier time being a higher rank, and not that the enemies will become these bullet sponges that can't be killed. And I agree with this. Sometimes when minimum levels are required, it sometimes falls into the system where bosses become a little bit more bullet spongy than they are before. And in some cases, if you are completely underleveled, you have no chance at all to do so. People have different opinions on this, and to be honest, if you're watching this video, odds are when we do come across these recommended level missions, we're probably going to be over leveled anyways due to us exploring and trying to find out new things. So I'm not worried on our end, I'm more so worried for the casual players. But moving forward, we can actually see where the missions are available and their locations. We have the Old Market, Zone 2, Zone 3. Very important insight and information here. We did know that zones existed, but seeing how it's going to play a role into the game is great. And right above that, we have chat and quick slots. Chat, once again, pretty self-explanatory, and quick slots are too as well, probably for the weapons that you would hold in your wheel, just like the original. Last, if we look all the way to the right, we have a bunch of past objectives for the current mission that they are on. Starting Starting from the top and working down, Aiden found the inhibitors, but attracted a group of infected along the way. He had to get rid of them, and after defeating the infected, Aiden could at least get to the inhibitors. And finally, en route to more inhibitors, Aiden ran into some infected. To complete his task, he had to eliminate them. What's really interesting to me here is, I wonder if the player decisions will directly affect what pops up on screen right here. Like, is it possible to not attract a group of infected? Is it possible to sneak past them? Or is it always going to be a predetermined path moving forward? Is it possible not to run into them? Like I've said, this raises so many more questions that I do have. And finally, at the top right, we have rank and level XP. Nothing really changes here from the original. But with all of that said, tell me down below what you guys think of this. Once again, it's all promotional material from a while ago, so many things can change from what we're seeing right now. Not a leak, just official materials with some strings attached to it. But anyways, thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, consider subscribing and leaving a like as well. Feel free to follow me on social media or consider joining the community Discord. On either platform, we can go ahead and continue the conversation. But enough self-promotion, I'll let you all go, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.